Twilight and Her Guest by ElayneCiara. Twilight shifted nervously in her seat as she lit up her horn to take a sip of the tea that had long gone cold from her staring at the pony before her intently. Like a predator, an animal, her ears were perked up and alarmed, prepared to react fast if the pony did anything. "Excuse me," Twilight said, nervousness filling her stomach as the pony before her didn't answer back to her call. She began to grow anxious as if a heavy burden lay in the air. "Excuse me," she said, a bit louder this time. The pony barely kept eye contact with her and muttered a small, "What?" "Your beard, Star Swirl's beard isn't supposed to be tucked under his uniform," Twilight said, clearing her throat, her lips dry. "Could you please untuck it?" The pony rolled its eyes at her and scoffed. "Do I look like I care? It's just some dirty old costume." "Well, yes, but you don't need to get all freaked out because of your ridiculous OCD problem. If I want to tuck the beard in so I don't trip over myself and fall, then I will," the pony retorted, brushing its fake beard comically. "It's only a costume anyways." Twilight put down her cup of tea and slightly lowered her ears. "I understand," she murmured, but upon seeing the pony's bored expression she fixed her composure. "But I simply cannot allow for Star Swirl's costume to be misinterpreted. Please untuck the beard." The pony looked at her, and with a brief drop of the tea, a hoof came and swept across Twilight's face, her stumbling and landing on the floor, clutching her face with a shocked expression. Then, with a toxic tone, the pony looked down at her and said, "I will wear Star Swirl's costume however I want. It's just for show, a simple candy beggar. In Nightmare Night, not everything needs to be perfect, Twilight." Twilight, with a glazed look in her eye, lit up her horn and struck the pony back, hitting them on their left wing. "That may be so, but I can't accept Star Swirl being mocked like that," Twilight said. "Untuck your beard." The pony clenched its teeth and tackled Twilight to the ground, giving her several blows to the head. "Get it through this thick skull of yours! Not everything has to be perfect, Twilight!" Twilight writhed under the pony's grasp and lit up her horn, conjuring another spell to blast, though she was interrupted by the pony lighting up its own horn and blasting her first. Twilight quickly dove out of the way and out of the pony's ground. She stood up so fast her head spun for a second before she began to charge her horn. "Untuck your beard." Twilight's tone was dangerous now, and the pony growled in response. "How about you come over here and make me?" Spike stared at the batch of scones he carried and licked his lips furiously. Twilight had sent him to make some because she was having dinner with a guest, and the alluring smell of the scones almost made 2 or 3 of them accidentally go missing. He knew by the tone of Twilight's voice that the guest was very important, right after telling him to straighten his scales and take a shower. He smiled at the thought. Though when he neared the dining room he could hear muffled grunting and spells being cast. Spike's smile faded and he swung open the door worriedly. There, he saw Twilight fighting vigorously with another mare. "Twilight? And... Twilight? Stop fighting!" He dropped the plate of scones and got in between the 2 mares, both of them panting and disbanding a spell they were readying. Twilight growled at Spike. "Look at her! See? She would not untug her beard! That's not what Star Swirl looks like!" she cried, her hair in knots swaying slightly. Spike turned to the other Twilight, who was wearing a Star Swirl costume. "The whole reason she made me was to not be like her and have fun with the kids on Nightmare Night." Spike blinked, him suddenly getting dizzy by the 2 Twilights, albeit acting oppositely in the same room. Wait. Let me get the story straight," he said. "Twilight made a copy of herself that wasn't neat and tidy just so the kids could have more fun with her? Than her?" The Twilight who wore the Star Swirl costume groaned. "Yes, it's moronic. And even more than she wants me to untuck my It's all true," Twilight said, her head drooping down in shame. "The children never have fun with me on Nightmare Night, because of my constant nagging to fix some pony's tie or straighten some pony's hat or whatnot. So I made a copy of myself that was mostly the opposite of what I am." Spike went over to Twilight and pat her back softly. "Twilight, doing that isn't the right way to go about it. Just because some fillies might not like how considerate you are in making everything perfect, doesn't mean you have to change yourself to please them. In my opinion, you're perfect just the way you are." Twilight gave Spike a sad smile and stood up. "Thanks, Spike." She walked towards the other Twilight and embraced her in a hug. "You too. I think your costume is great the way it is." The other Twilight flinched but soon hugged back and smiled, and with a zap of magic the other one was gone, and there was only Twilight. Spike walked over to Twilight and held the plate full of scones. Some were on the floor, up to her. "Scone?" Twilight laughed and Spike laughed too, and the two laughed at how ridiculous Twilight was for making a double of herself, and Twilight learned to love her quirks. But of course Pinkie Pie had to appear out of nowhere, raising her hoof and laughing manically, begging Twilight to do her next. Twilight rolled her eyes. "I wouldn't dream of it." Then suddenly she stepped towards Pinkie and swiped her hoof across her chest. "You had a cupcake stain on you." This time it was Pinkie who was laughing. Twilight too laughed along, even though she found stains on ponies' coats a great disturbance. What can we do without Twilight's pickiness?